Hello my lovelies, and thank you so much for joining me today. In today's video I want to talk to you about Lily Peters, a 10-year-old girl who disappeared whilst riding her bike from her aunt's house to her parents' house in a matter of 5 minutes. The bike ride was meant to be 5 minutes long. She disappeared, she was reported missing, her bike was found in the evening after the police search. And then, sadly, the following morning, around 9 in the morning, her body was discovered very close to where her bike was found just the previous night. So, before we start, I just want to give a quick disclaimer that all the information I'm giving you in today's video is already found in the public domain. I also don't want to be disrespectful to anyone I talk in the video. This is for educational purposes only, and of course I will also give you my opinions. Thank you so much. And before I forget, just quickly, the letter for today is sh. And the word is șoarece. Well done guys, you just said mouse. Șoarece, mouse. Today I'm going to do a different kind of video. What I want to do today is I wanted to do a commentary on the live trial, pre-hearing trial of the alleged suspect, because they do have someone in custody already, and so I'm going to do a bit of a different kind of video today. And let's watch the trial together, and I will also give you my views on it, so there will be a few pauses here and there, and then we can get into more detail.
Well, let's listen in live here.
All right, everyone, before we begin this proceeding, I wanted to just remind everyone that the court has issued an order on decorum for today, and there are certain rules that are in effect for this hearing for everyone, all participants, all spectators, all media. This is a sensitive matter, and just to remind media, there should be no videography of any of the defendant at all in this matter, in any of the gallery. We have to preserve not only the juvenile's rights, but also the rights of any victims that are present here today as well. There shall be no outbursts in this courtroom. We need to preserve decorum.
So let me just quickly say, like you've heard the judge saying, so there is no recording throughout this whole trial. The only thing that the media is allowed to record is the judge, so they can't really record either side. They can't record anybody who is in the courtroom. They won't they won't be able to record the suspect either. I don't want to spoil anything for you just now, but you'll probably understand a bit later on why this is happening.
Attorney Newell, would you be able to call this matter? I would ask that the parties refer to the juvenile with the initials for us to proceed, and then give the appearances. Thank you.
So this is the point. This is the whole point of all the secrecy and the not allowing to be recorded. So the suspect is a juvenile, in fact. Is a juvenile, and everybody can only refer to him by his initials because they want to protect his identity, which from my point of view I don't think is fair, because at the end of the day a 10-year-old girl was killed by him, allegedly, because he was still not convicted. So he's still not convicted. So I don't see a point to be doing that. I know that it makes sense in a way that you would protect their identity because they are underage, but still, sorry, but when you make the conscious decision to kill someone, as you will find out later on in the video, then I think that you deserve to be treated just like any other suspect, or like anyone else who is charged or waiting to be charged with a crime like this, so serious.
Yes, Your Honor, this is State of Wisconsin versus C P-B. As yet doesn't have a case number. The state will be filing the criminal complaint as soon as I'm done, I guess, introducing the case. Wade Newell, District Attorney for Chippewa County, appearing on behalf of the state. The defendant is at JDC.
So he's at juvenile detention center at this point. You know what, before I carry on, he was arrested very quickly. So yeah, we'll get to that bit a bit later on.
With his attorneys Kirby Harless and Carl Schmidt, all appearing via video.
All right, Attorney Harless, first of all, there has been a criminal complaint that has been filed or provided.
Actually, we'll be filing that now.
Please approach. And Attorney Harless, have you been able to receive a copy of that criminal complaint and discuss the charges and maximum penalties with your client?
We have, yes, Your Honor. We would waive any further reading. We would waive the time limits for a preliminary hearing, which we have discussed with our client, and we are requesting that it be set for a hearing next week. I believe there's still decisions to be made as to counsel moving forward, so I'd like to have it delayed for 1 week in order to have counsel permanently assigned and make a decision from scheduling from there.
All right. Attorney Newell, did you have any arguments?
Yes, Your Honor, the state is requesting a $1 million cash bond with the condition that he have no contact with any juveniles and not possess any dangerous weapons. The state understands the state is asking for a very high cash bond for a defendant of 14 years of age.
So now we have some more information here. So he's a juvenile, he's 14 years of age. That's why he's being referred by his initials, and that's why they are not allowing the media to record anyone else apart from the judge in this case. And also they are setting a $1 million cash bond. Although yes, it's very high, I do agree that it's high. I think that in this case, considering the brutality of this murder, it's necessary.
But given the statements that the defendant made to law enforcement that his intention was to rape and kill the victim from the get-go when he left the house with the victim going down the trail.
Right, so now we have another indication here where we can potentially make a connection. If you will, this video will kind of show you kind of like the behind the scenes of my research into this kind of cases. So we know that he is a juvenile, right? We know that he's 14 years old, he's a boy obviously, and now we found out that actually Lily left with him from the house to the trail, which to me indicates that Lily knew exactly who he was and she trusted him enough to go with him, right? Now, Lily is reported to have gone to her aunt's house. And from her aunt's house, she was supposed to get back to her parents' house, which was meant to be a 5-minute bike ride. On the trail, through the trail, right? The trail is very close to the aunt's house and also is very close to the parents' house. So literally there were 5 minutes of riding on that bike. And this recording is telling us that indeed Lily knew who he was, which makes me believe that the boy lived in the house, in the aunt's house. Let's move on. Oh, let's not say that according to the boy's statements, he, as soon as he got out of the house with Lily, he already planned that he's going to RAPE her and then end her life. But there is more.
The state believes that there is a need to protect the community and also a concern regarding the defendant fleeing, given the severity of the punishment he is facing for all 3 of these charges. That gives him a very big incentive not to resolve the matter and to flee the area, but the protection of community also is necessary in this case, given his statements, once again, regarding his intentions and also his statements regarding the fact that when he did get off of the trail, punched the victim in the stomach, knocked her to the ground, essentially strangled her, hit her with a stick before strangling her to the point of death before he then assaulted her. Based upon all that, the state believes that a $1 million cash bond is appropriate with the two conditions outlined.
So, did you hear that? Did you hear that? This is a 14-year-old that we are talking about. Not only did he plan to kill her as soon as they left that house, he planned to RAPE her. But what I think happened was, according to his own statement of the things that he did, so he punched her in the stomach, he then beat her with a stick, he strangled her, and then he SA'd her. So I think that at this point we can paint quite a good picture of what exactly happened. So they got to the trail, to a spot where, you know, they were not seen by anyone, and obviously he started probably touching her inappropriately, and she didn't accept that. She didn't accept that, obviously. She probably was getting panicked, she was getting scared, she was maybe looking front, back, behind her, to her left, to her right, to see if anyone else is there to potentially help her, and she started fighting back. She was starting to defend herself. So this 14-year-old, he couldn't exactly RAPE her at this point because she was putting up a fight, right? I don't know what he expected, that she would just lay down and let him do it. I don't know what he expected, but anyway, he punches her in the stomach, so he gets her on the ground, he strangles her, he beats her with a stick, because at this point he's kind of incapacitating her, right? So because his plan is still to RAPE her, but he can't do it because she's fighting back, so he gets her on the ground, he incapacitates her this way by getting her to the ground, he strangles her. I'm not sure if he wanted on purpose to strangle her at this point, at the point of killing her, or he wanted to just strangle her so she would stop fighting. I'm not sure. However, after she died, that's when he SAs her. But his initial plan was not to SA her after killing her. His initial plan was to RAPE her and then kill her. So I think that the most likely scenario in this case is that he couldn't do that because she was fighting back, and so he killed her and then he SA'd her, which is completely disgusting and disturbing. He's a 14-year-old. Let's move on.
All right, Attorney Harless or Attorney Schmidt, any objections?
Yes, Your Honor, to the cash amount. This is Attorney Schmidt. I'll be addressing the bond argument. We're asking the court to impose a $100,000 cash bond.
No way, this is not possible. No way. How can they object to this cash bond? Oh my God, $100,000. No. But let's move on and see what else he says to give his reasoning. Is it Attorney Schmidt?
We agree that cash is appropriate in this case. The charges are extremely serious. We do not feel that setting bond in excess of $100,000 is necessary or appropriate in this case. We do not believe that Mr. PB is a flight risk. He is 14 and an 8th grader. He cannot drive. He is not in a position to raise much money, frankly, at all on his own. He resides with his mother. He is a lifetime resident of Chippewa County.
There you go. Here we have another clue, another very important clue. But first of all, let's just address that idiotic $100,000 bond request for the reasons that he's not a flight risk. What? How can you say that he is not a flight risk when he clearly, as a 14-year-old, planned to RAPE and kill a 10-year-old? And you're telling me that he's not a flight risk? What? Are you serious? Of course that he's a flight risk, and he's also a danger to the community because he's done it to a girl. You never know when he will strike again. You never know that. So that's just laughable in my opinion. How can you say he's not a flight risk? Of course he is a flight risk. he is a flight risk, and that $1 million cash bond, I think it's just perfect. It's perfect, because I think, considering that this is a cash bond, the idea of somebody raising $1 million is not very realistic, as opposed to somebody raising $100,000. So you can, I think that the way these bonds work, you can potentially put a property against a loan to pay for the bond. I think that's how it works in the US. So it's much easier for someone to take out, you know, to have a $100,000 bond and get out, as opposed to have a $1 million cash bond and get out. You know what I mean? And then we also have the other important clue, which mentions that he lives with his mother. So if we are to think about this, let's put all of these clues together, right? He's a 14-year-old boy. Lily went to her aunt's house. Lily left with this boy from the house, which tells me that the boy lived in the house, this 14-year-old boy. And then he also tells me that Lily knew him, because they left together from the house on the trail. God knows what he told her to convince her to go down there, but obviously, knowing him, she trusted him. And then now we also hear that he lives with his mother, which makes me believe that his mother is Lily's aunt. There is a reason why the police taped that house. There is a reason why the police executed a search warrant on that house, I think that Lily Peters was in fact killed by her cousin, her 14-year-old cousin. This is the conclusion that I got to. Now let's carry on.
We believe that a $100,000 cash bond should be adequate to ensure that Mr. PB does not flee, that he has a realistic opportunity for some sort of pretrial release, as limited as I think that would be.
What are you talking about? An opportunity for pretrial release? Are you serious? He just killed a 10-year-old. He's 14 years old, and you want him to have an opportunity for pre-release? This is like an offensive thing to say to the victim's family. A pre-trial release. So you are basically wanting to give him the opportunity to be released whilst he's going through the trial? No way, man. He's a danger to community. No. He could very well do this again. He's 14. He knew exactly what he did when he did it, because he planned it.
I believe that in light of his age and that circumstance, that setting that bond any higher than $1,000 is far beyond what's necessary to serve the goals of bail. I think that all it would do would be essentially to index his taste at the details of these offenses. That's all. Thank you.
All right, thank you. All right. The court has considered the arguments of counsel here today. This is a serious charge, and because of serious charges, there are serious consequences, which gives a greater incentive for individuals not to want to return to court when they are facing those charges. And so I also need to consider the threats to the community. The information that was disclosed by the district attorney shows that this was a serious threat to the community, and so the court is concerned that this could be a further threat if the individual was no longer in custody. The court will order a $1 million cash bond with the condition.
Thank you. This is quite a fair judge. I completely agree with everything he said so far.
That the defendant not contact any juveniles and have no dangerous weapons. Attorney Harless or Attorney Schmidt, I believe, or I'm not aware of whether or not the defendant has any siblings that I could accept this from that could be supervised. I would allow that to have supervised contact between any family members that are his siblings as long as that contact is supervised. The time limits for the preliminary hearing have been waived. However, there is a request for a hearing next week to determine whether counsel would need to be updated for the defendant. I have some dates. At this time, I would like to go off the record to go through our calendars to make sure that there would be time that works for the parties. We are off the record. Attorney Harless, I have next Thursday, May 5th. I can do a time between 3 and 4:30. And Friday, May 6th, a time between 8:30 and 10 a.m. Do any of those times work for you for the defendant?
3:30 on Thursday sounds like it would work well.
Attorney Newell, does that work for you?
3:30 on May 5th, yes, Your Honor.
All right. We are back on the record in this matter. We have set a return hearing in this matter for 3 p.m. on May 5th of 2022 to address the issues raised by counsel in this matter. I do need to comply with our constitutional amendment known as Marcy's Law as well. Are there any victims present who wish to speak in this matter?
Not to my knowledge, Your Honor. One thing is, at the same time as filing the criminal complaint, the state has also filed the victim key. I would ask that that be filed confidentially and sealed, only available to the parties.
All right. I'm going to do a few things here. Were there any issues from any victims or victim representatives regarding the schedule of next week's hearing at all? Right. Hearing none, I will order that the clerk file the criminal complaint that was recently given to the clerk here at this hearing, that criminal complaint be sealed and available to the parties. If for any reason that this is released to anyone that is not a party, that the clerk redact all references to the name of the defendant. However, in the caption of the criminal complaint, the clerk shall keep the initials of the defendant on. All future filings in this case by all parties and all representatives of any party, including attorneys, shall use the defendant's initials going forward. Attorney Newell, were there any other?
I don't agree at all that they are they can only use his initials. I think that they should release his name. I really do think, because this would fit the crime. Honestly, it would fit the crime.
Other items to address for today before we meet again next week.
When the court ordered the bond condition made the reference to any siblings that need to be excluded, was there a response to that?
I did not hear anything. Attorney Harless, was there a sibling of the defendant that we may want to add an exemption for under the bond that he may want to visit with supervision?
Yes, there are siblings. I'm sorry, I thought the order was just being made to allow for the supervised visitation with siblings.
Any objections on that, Attorney Newell?
No, Your Honor, as long as supervised means that there's another adult in the room and that he not be alone even with his siblings at all.
So now we have another clue, which is a bit concerning if I'm honest with you. So he has siblings. Now my question is, are these siblings boys or are these siblings girls? Are they younger than him? Are they older than him? Because if they are younger than him and they are girls, he could have potentially done a similar thing to one of his siblings, because in the end he did it to his cousin, so he could have essayed one of his siblings. And I would be really interested to know who the siblings are and how old they are, to be able to, you know, try and understand a bit more. And also, I think it's a really good thing that they allow the siblings supervised by an adult, possibly a police officer. And I think that if, let's say for example, that he didn't essay his siblings, potentially seeing his siblings will open him up more and maybe he will talk more. I don't know, but I think that for me at least is enough the statements that he made already. That says it all, honestly.
I agree. I think that should be supervised through any law enforcement or any professionals through the JDC, if that's where he will be retained until further order. Attorney Harless, was there anything else, or Attorney Schmidt, anything from your side that you wanted to make for the record today?
Just a clarification on scheduling. It was my understanding that we were setting this for 3:30, and then when we went back on the record, the court indicated 3 o'clock. I just want to make sure I got my calendar right.
All right, 3:30 works, Attorney Newell?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, let's set it for 3:30 then on May 5th for the next appearance in this matter. And I would ask the state to set up video for that date as well if the defendant is still remaining at the JDC.
And because that is one of the required court appearance, or I guess no, it's just a status, so it's not required. Never mind, Your Honor. I guess we did not deal with today as the defendant had the right under the statute to appear in person. We didn't, I guess, address that up front. It may be good to address that now to make sure that the defendant is okay with this hearing having been done via video and not in person.
Under recent law, Attorney Harless and Attorney Schmidt, all proceedings in criminal proceedings are able to be conducted by video, including this one today. Was the defendant agreeable to having this matter conducted by video with him appearing from the JDC with counsel present with him rather than here in the courtroom?
Yes, he had no objections to that. He was fine with it being that way.
All right, then I will find that the defendant made a knowing, voluntary, and intelligent waiver of his right to be present for today for us to continue the hearing here today. Anything else today, Attorney Newell?
No, thank you, Your Honor.
Attorney Harless or Attorney Schmidt, anything else?
No, thank you, Your Honor.
All right, I will ask the clerk's office to prepare the bond and send that down to the JDC for it to be signed, and then we will see everyone next week, May 5th at 3:30. All right, thank you all.
So that's it for the pre-trial hearing. Let's go into a bit more detail with this case. So as far as I'm aware, they are looking to charge him, the 14-year-old juvenile, as an adult, which I think is a really good thing. However, for the moment, like you've heard the judge say, he is being held in juvenile custody, which I'm hoping it will change very soon. Like I mentioned to you previously, police, they quite quickly arrested a suspect for Lily's death, which was, what, 48 hours after they found her body, around that time. And I'm just reading an article here, and according to this article, it seems that the police were able to identify this suspect so quickly thanks to a Reddit user. So someone on Reddit, according to what they say, just to update on the main thread, I called into the tip line and told them about the comment from Home/Nation4. The detective just called me back to thank me for calling it in, to let me know that he received the screenshots I sent and to tell me that he's following up on it. I definitely didn't expect a call back, but it tells me they are genuinely right on top of this case and most likely don't have a suspect yet. To get a call back from a detective 19 minutes after a tip is called, it seems pretty unreal, yet here we are. So it seems that he's saying what's scary is I was playing Pokemon Go in the park that day, walking along that very same trail. My stomach turns when I think that I saw that girl in a pink purple hoodie on her bike with another kid on my way out. I have a suspicion that it could be another kid that did it, and that's how the police got to know the suspect and arrest the suspect. And this is more or less an open and shut case, if you will. We still don't have the autopsy of Lily that's being performed as we speak, I believe, and also I'm not sure that it will be released to the public. I know that they are keeping a lot of things under seal in court, so I'm not sure if we will have any more information than we already have. So let's just rewind back a bit to when this happened. Lily Peters, on Sunday, April 24th, she leaves her aunt's house on a bicycle to cycle into the woods near Chippewa Falls, northeast of Eau Claire, Wisconsin. Lily's father, Lily, was supposed to go home back to her parents. Her father becomes worried when she doesn't return at 9 p.m. and he goes on to report her missing. Police are searching for Lily and they find the bike in the woodland near a walking trail between the end of the Ann Grove Street and the Lenenkugel Brewery parking lot, 4 blocks from her aunt's house. 4 blocks from her aunt's house. Police, they use dog units and drones as they search for Lily. On Monday, 25th of April, unfortunately, police find Lily's remains near Chippewa Falls, northeast of Eau Claire. On Tuesday, the 26th of April, we have the anonymous Reddit user who is posting that he was playing Pokemon Go in the park and he saw the girl in the pink hoodie, and then he contacted the tip line. Then, on the same day, police announced that they have arrested a suspect for Lily's murder. On the 27th of April, which was Wednesday, police are saying that the suspect is a 14-year-old 8th grader and he is the cousin of Lily, like I said. So he's the cousin of Lily and police confirmed this. He appeared in adult court and he was charged with first-degree intentional homicide, first-degree SA, and first-degree SA of a child under the age of 13, resulting in great bodily harm. Like I mentioned already, his bond is set to $1 million. So now we have a pretty good picture, and now we know from official sources that this boy is really her cousin, Lily's cousin, and he is the one who unfortunately ended her life. So let me just backtrack a bit here. So as I said, there was a Reddit user who said that he was playing Pokemon Go in the park. I don't want to give you the wrong details. He was playing Pokemon in the park and he saw the girl with the pink hoodie. Now, it wasn't him who called the tip line. This was a second user who said that they called the police tip line after reading the comment on Reddit. And we also know that Lily spent the afternoon with her aunt Lori Davis. So we have the initials for the boy BPD, I believe, or PB, BD, BPD, like it was said in court. I'll have to double check on that. And Lori Davis, Lily's aunt, was living with her boyfriend John Repetto, 50 years old. Lily's body was sadly found at 9:15 a.m. on Monday, less than half a mile from the home she shared with her father Alex, mother Jennifer Early, 38 years old, and brother Dylan. Can you imagine? Less than half a mile. Less than half a mile. Yes, apparently the alleged killer, known by initials CPB, and guys, if you are interested, a GoFundMe was set up as well for the family by one of their friends, and this has already raised more than $20,000. So I will leave the link for the GoFundMe in the description down below. Now, I found another piece of information as I was doing my research. Like I said, I know that this is a completely different type of video. I was trying to find out if there is anyone out there who knows the full name of this 14-year-old boy, because obviously they will be locals, they will be, you know, school colleagues, the school community. I mean, that community is a community of 30,000 people, so basically, more or less, like the police was saying, they pretty much know each other. So I'm guessing that I was thinking that someone will have gone on social media to name the suspect, although he's 14 years old, and I think that I got his name. Like, obviously I can't really verify this information, but I'm going to give it to you anyway. According to a Facebook post from the Truckers Mini Children Project, and I'm going to read this. If it angers you that we reveal the names of murderers here, then perhaps we are not the place for you. In the Lily Peters case, a 14-year-old male knows exactly what he's doing. You may comment, but please remember this is about justice for Lily. It was Carson Peters-Berger, which everyone knew last night, but didn't name him because he is 14. He's the cousin of Lily Peters and he confessed. This was planned. Suspect's statement made to law enforcement was that he intended to RAPE and kill the victim from the start when he left the house with her. Newell said that the suspect told investigators he hit his victims with a stick before strangling the victim to death and then essaying her. Emotions are understandably running high, as are ours. This has to stop. Please act like adults. Rest in peace, Lily Peters. It's very scary, guys, honestly, what's happening in today's world. Not only you can't let your kids go outside and enjoy their childhood and enjoy their friends and, you know, play outside just like it used to be a very long time ago. Now you also can't trust family members with your children, because like it happened in this case, the 14-year-old cousin killed a 10-year-old innocent girl who had her whole life ahead of her. So I am wondering what's going to happen for our children for the next, in 10 years time, in 20 years time. If now already you can't even let your child enjoy their childhood without the fear that they go for 5 minutes and they never come back. And there's nothing you can do about it. I don't know, it's devastating, honestly, to just think about it, and quite honestly my heart goes out to Lily Peters' family and friends and everyone who was affected by this tragedy. It's horrible, really, it's horrible. So I think guys that this case is an open and shut case. It seems to be quite straightforward. However, I am still interested to know how many siblings does this 14-year-old boy have? Are they girls? Are they boys? Has there ever been any kind of report within the family that he did something to his siblings? There must have been something, some kind of, I don't know, some kind of trait that he displayed over time. I have no idea, honestly, because either way that I'm thinking about it, it just doesn't make any sense in my mind. A 14-year-old boy to plan to do this to his own cousin, to his 10-year-old cousin. It's just unbelievable in my eyes. And I would really like to know how was his relationship in the house. How was he as a boy at home? Was he triggered by something? Was anybody abusive towards him? Did he experience any kind of trauma at one point? Or is he just a cold-blooded murderer? I don't want to find justification, because there is absolutely no justification in this entire world that can justify a 14-year-old boy killing a 10-year-old girl in such a brutal manner, and what he did to her after she passed away.
Give us an update on the investigation.
Earlier this evening,
Developing story of Lily Peters. Police found the 10-year-old girl dead in Chippewa Falls yesterday, and they are investigating this as a homicide. Earlier this evening, authorities gave us an update on the investigation.
Earlier this evening, we arrested a juvenile suspect in this case. The suspect was not a stranger. The suspect was known to the victim. We do not believe there is any danger to the community at this time. While nothing will bring Lily Peters back or change what happened, we are very grateful to be able to deliver this news for the family and for the community. Driving through town and through our communities, we can see the purple ribbons, and honestly, I would expect nothing less from the Chippewa Falls community, Chippewa Valley, and our surrounding communities. A tremendous amount of work has gone into this investigation by a large team of investigators, including those at the federal, state, county, and local level. Law enforcement has been working on this case 24 hours a day since this call came in less than 48 hours ago. First of all, I want to thank the community for the over 200 tips that we have received. These tips were critical to solving this case. Our security team has and will continue to hold the crime scene, which is the wooded area around the footpath between the north end of Grove Street and the Leinenkugel Brewery parking lot. This is important to the integrity of the investigation, and we would ask that you continue to avoid this area. The Wisconsin Department of Justice Crime Lab processed the crime scene last night. At that time, the body of Lily Peters was removed by the coroner's office. A forensic autopsy is being conducted. Investigators executed a search warrant at 422 North Grove Street. Evidence was collected and additional interviews were conducted. That is all of the new information I have at this time. There is still much work to be done. Please contact the tip line if you have information you think we should know. The number is 1-800-263-5906. Again, 1-800-263-5906. The line will remain up until noon tomorrow. After that time, you can contact the police department's non-emergency number. Our thoughts continue to be with the family through this terrible time. We would ask everyone to keep them in your thoughts while respecting their privacy as they grieve. This is still an active investigation. I wanted to note some of the agencies that were involved in this. We had over 70 officers working this case just today, close to 20 agencies, including the Department of Justice, DCI, FBI, the Wisconsin Crime Lab, Eau Claire Police Department, Menominee Police Department, Altoona Police Department, Lake Hallie Police Department, Cornell Police Department, Ladysmith Police Department, Eau Claire County, Dunn County, Rusk County, Chippewa County, the Wisconsin State Patrol, Wisconsin DNR, Wisconsin County Emergency Management, and Wisconsin County Victim Services, as well as support we've had from our community throughout this whole time. The outpouring of support for our first responders throughout this entire investigation and through this incident has been nothing short of amazing.
We're going to be in Ukraine, where Russia unleashed an intense missile attack on
Now, earlier today, police were seen executing a search warrant at a home on Grove Street. This is the same street where Lily's aunt lives and where Lily was last seen on Sunday night. Investigators were seen taking boxes of evidence out of the house before surrounding the home with crime scene tape. Neighbors who live on that street tell us they are relieved but surprised about this arrest.
It's shocking. I'm glad that it's not prolonging. I even said today that I'm glad that Lily's body was found right away rather than, making the family wait. I'm glad tonight that they have somebody in custody.
I talked to the mayor of this town just a few minutes ago, and he said this kind of crime simply doesn't happen here in Chippewa Falls. But tonight, this town of 15,000 people is grieving a little girl and settling into the fact that this kind of a cold crime happens so close to home.
It's a town known more for its local brew than a bitter wind.
We are very much a family here.
Chippewa Falls today struggles with the fate of one of its own.
My heart breaks for the family.
Olgie Holte can't imagine the shock and grief for the family and friends of 10-year-old Ileana Peters, otherwise known as Lily.
I do worry about the community, the other children.
A fear this mother of 3, grandmother of 9, can't help but feel for her own family.
My youngest granddaughter is 10, and just to see her the same age is very hard to imagine the pain and everything, the sorrow.
That pain and sorrow also a concern of the local school district. In a statement today, leaders pledged to support staff and students with conversation and counseling. That while those strolling downtown say they remain stunned.
Goes to your heart.
by a chilling crime in a community known for its warmth.
I feel for the family, and, you know, hopefully God watches over them and helps them get through this. It's terrible.
If you're like me, you've also thought of Patty Wetterling today, mother of Jacob Wetterling, who was abducted and killed back in 1989 when he also was just trying to bike home. I talked to Patty just a few minutes ago, and she said that her heart stopped when she learned of Lily. She says that this community does need to come together to heal, to support this family, and to try and find the person responsible. Ever a child advocate, she reminds everyone that no detail is too small and that anything can help authorities find the person behind this horrific crime. Julie and Randy, back to you.
All right, we were all thinking of her today as well. Thank you so much, Carla.
In the Chippewa Falls community is substantial. The arrest represents a step toward justice for Lily.
But I do feel sorry for my sympathy is to the family. It was the little girl, I've seen her around, and it's a small town. It's a good town, Chippewa Falls.
When something like census like this happens, we become strong, and we're going to grow as a community.
2 memorials to Lily stand proud, and purple ribbons drape every light post downtown. The school district is offering counselors and therapy dogs for students, and elementary school classes made time for kids to ask their teachers questions, as everyone in town and beyond works to cope with a senseless tragedy.
Our thoughts continue to be with the family through this terrible time.
And thank you guys so much for watching today's video. Please let me know what do you think in the comment section down below. I do apologize, it's not my usual format of a video. Unfortunately, I don't have a lot of time right now to focus on more cases because, like I mentioned in my previous video, I'm also working on the Johnny Depp Amber Heard trial, and at the same time with that I'm working on another case, on another research of a very lengthy case which I still haven't finished, so I'm kind of trying to work on both at the same time or parallel to each other so I can bring you more content. And this case, when I've seen the Lily Peters case, the trial live, I didn't want to cover it in the sense that I knew that I don't have enough time on my hands to do it proper justice. You know what I mean? Like I usually do in my cases. But then the more I was thinking about it, the more I was saying, okay, I have to speak about it because it's very important and because it enraged me. All those things that was said in the pre-trial hearing is particularly with the $1 million bond and the lawyer not agreeing and asking instead for $100,000 bond, saying that he's not a flight risk. What? I still can't believe that. Anyway guys, thank you so much for watching. Please take care and stay safe, and don't forget I do have a Patreon after you request it. The link is on your screen right now. It will also be in the description below. On the Patreon is 18+, and we usually discuss things there which for obvious reasons we can't discuss on YouTube. And also there are some crime scene photos and all those kind of things. There are 3 tiers that you can choose from, so you can head over there and check it out. Thanks guys so much, take care and stay safe. Bye!